Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here with an event video on the past of the Misty Mountains event. We're going to look at the actual in-game content for this event. We're going to look at all the monetized options, the different Matham chests and bundles we have to open, as well as the new commanders we have available because we have not seen anything on them until this point. We're going to quickly go through all those, so stay tuned. All that coming up in just 1 second. Okay, so starting out, we're going to look at the actual playable new content in the game. And when I say playable new content, I think that's a little bit generous of a statement. But in terms of things that we can do in the game during this event, it is this kind of red book challenge map thing. There's going to be, it looks like, because there's a progression chest that goes up to 10 here. It looks like there's going to be 10 levels. I have 2 right now and 2 unlocking tomorrow. So again, I assume it'll be 2 per day. So for 5 days, we'll have 2 unlock. You go through these, they're just like the red book we have available in the tavern all the time. You click on the tiles with your commander, you take them. Don't use your heal too early, and you're probably going to be fine. And you go through this. Again, you get 100 gems per one of these. So if there are 10, which it looks like, there's going to be 1,000 gems for those, as well as the progressional rewards. You get 100 gems for that one, 200 for that one, and then an adventurer medal with a sticker from the event. So 1,300 gems, a sticker, and an adventurer medal. That's the total reward for playing through the event, if you want to call it that. But again, that's the actual playable content during this time frame. Again, to call it an event for me seems a little bit silly because it's a feature or a game mode red book that we already have in the game. There's just a little bit of new story or context added to it. So in my opinion, if they want to drop new commanders, they should just drop commanders, drop their chests, and then throw in a little game mode like this. Say, hey, we got a little extra red book thing for you. And people could do that. And then their hopes aren't high. The expectations aren't high. And players go, hey, we got these commanders. We got a little, we can mess around with them here in the red book. It's fine. But they've done announcement after announcement on how this is an event, a big thing. Again, my hopes were not high. I hope yours were not high either. But I think the hype was there. And again, we'll look at the commanders. We'll look at the bundles. The bundles are great. They make sure the things you can buy are great. But the stuff that we get as players, when you log in thinking, oh, new event, what's going on? It's a little bit lackluster for me personally. So I'm going to do this. I'll grab my 1,300 gems and call it a day. But again, nothing to write home about on the playable content level. Next up, we have the different bundles available. Now there is an adventure medal bundle because the new commanders are released in the adventurer chest, which I'll talk about when we get to that in a second. But there is these bundles you can buy, and I believe they are progressional for these, so you can buy through. And the price is going to increase starting at 5 and going all the way up, I believe, to 100. Just like the other reward, which I'll show in a second. There's another one that I already ended up buying on stream. So I'll try and put some screenshots in so you can see what it is. But this is the adventure medal bundle that you can buy there. Now, in terms of the sticker packs, if you care about that, which I bought them, so obviously care about them, you can buy a sticker. They get progressionally more expensive, but you get some Mathams with them. There is, again, they're just focused around Beorn and the new Orc Commander. So we got Beorn chopping some wood here. We got Ugler, I think is his name, going through a picket fence. We have them both on a cliffside here, yelling at each other. And then this one is the reward. It looks like Beorn eating a pot of honey. This is the reward for opening 200 of the special chest in the event, which I'll show in a second what that chest looks like. But these are the 4 stickers available from this event. There are a few other bundles. I'll put screenshots in it as I can, but there is one bundle where you can buy 15 Mathams for $20. That's USD. You can buy that 3 times. So it's going to be 45 Mathams for $60. That one would be here. We did grab that to open the chest. There's also one more big bundle that gives you a bunch of commander respect items, and they start out at $5 and work their way up. So there is a bundle for $5, $10, $20, $50, and $100. And in each of those bundles, you get the gem amount for what you purchase. So every bundle gives you $5 worth of gems, $10 worth of gems, so on and so forth, and commander respect items. So they come in the chests, which again, I'll show you. They come in chests like this, where you have some that are choosable. Most of them are random ones. So these are the purple ones, for example, and I can use them on either good or evil, but there are gold and purple versions of those. So again, if you want to look at my inventory, I did use some of them because I got a few for Sauron we used, but like we got 9 for Undying and we got 13 for Saruman. We did open chests as well, so these are a little bit extra, but again, you do get a really good chunk of gold items. I'm always a fan of the bundles that basically, for the price that you would pay for gems, give you extra stuff. Again, it still costs money, I get it, but for me, as someone who spends sort of regularly, if I can get some extra gold items with a purchase, that's worth it to me. but that is the bundle. That's like the special limited bundle. It's available for like 20 days. You don't have to rush into getting it. If you want to do it over time, that's fine, or don't do it at all. It's your call. But that's another one of the purchasable items in this event. Now, last on monetization, before we look at the actual commanders and show the skills, again, this won't be a theory crafting video, but I'll at least just show the skills so you guys can start talking about them, because so far we've not seen them. We do have a chest for both of the commanders, an evil chest and a good chest for both of them. They do require the adventurer medals. Again, you guys know my stance on this. I think the adventure medals are lame. To me, it does not allow players who save up Mathams to open these chests and try and get new commanders and new events. It forces you to either buy gems or just save the gems. So if you're someone who buys Mathams, just don't plan on using them during events. If you buy like the daily Matham deal or whatever, if you're someone who buys gems and likes to buy Mathams, although if you're buying gems, just save your gems if you want to use them, because you can no longer exchange Mathams for the adventure medals. But we have a chest for both of them. Again, these chests aren't great unless you really want to go for these commanders. I wouldn't particularly do them. Again, it's very misleading. It's got these things here that say drop rate up. The drop rate for gold items or full pulls on commanders does not increase. It's just the rate for those commanders specifically, but there are other options in the chest. So again, don't expect to pull them every time. There are other ones in here. But again, if you look at the drop rate, it's still 7.5% here. It's still 0.3% here. So it's a little bit misleading for me. If you don't read it or you don't know what you're doing, you might think this is a better chest. It's the best chest for these commanders, yes, because their rates are increased when you do pull them, but the rates to pull items are not increased. So I wish they'd make that more clear, because I think it seems kind of scammy to me, but that's just my thoughts. So those are the two chests we have there, the adventure chest. And then lastly, we have the tribute of the legend. This is the evil chest. This is the progressional reward chest. So if you open 200, which we did, you can see we get a number of different rewards, capping off with 2 pure mithril. There's you can pick some commander respect there for purple and gold. There's a random purple item. Nothing crazy at all in these. In fact, if these actually, previously, some of these have contained like a gold item at the end, I think that would be kind of nice. Or like at every 100 you get a gold item, it'd be kind of nice. But hey, it is what it is. I'm actually going for gold mithril now, so this is fine with me. But basically for these, you get to choose your own wish list. You can open 200 and you get a little extra rewards for these. So these, in my opinion, are still the best chests in terms of what you get, because I put Witch King, Sauron, Sun on my chest, and that's all I got. I actually got 2 full pulls of Witch King. I got lots of gear. There'll be a separate Matham opening video to put that in. This video is supposed to be kind of short and sweet, so I don't want to take too much time. But I opened this chest. I enjoyed it. But again, on a whole, the event had a lot of stuff you could spend money on, a little bit of stuff you can like actually play and do for free or like get rewards from, and then obviously the 2 new commanders have dropped. So last but not least, so let's go ahead and jump over to the commanders and see how they look. All right, so in no particular order, this is Ugler. Again, we have not actually seen these guys because they didn't release any skill previews for us to, guess what they could look like. But it's Ugler. He uses the Beast Bile, which sounds disgusting. Again, he's a tier 3 commander, so you're going to get these, in that chest we talked about, or once they're added to the normal chest, you can get them and give them to him up to 9k respect to fully use him. So he uses the Beast Bile. These are his stats right here, 97, 66, and 54. So a might heavy commander. We'll go through the kit just a second. His R10 item is a full might item that's going to max out at 66 might once you strengthen it all the way. He's going to have 3 attack for, he's going to have 3 army attack and then 60 attack for trolls, which is kind of interesting. He's going to be kind of a troll commander, which we'll talk about why I have thoughts about that. We'll get into it. Anyway, his ability, we'll go ahead and do the full refined stats so you can kind of see what the potential is. But it is for orcs and trolls, damage dealt plus 18% while attacking. Again, that starts out at 3%. Round 8 and onwards, each round, ally units recover HP for each orc or troll type present. So late round recovery for each of those types present. So if you have a full army comprised of orcs and trolls, and you have 3 options, you're going to recover 9% starting out per one of those, to 27. But again, fully refined, decent healing. So an interesting R10, the Brutal Axe, to say the least. And we'll talk about what I think could work for him. But again, I'm not here to make statements on whether or not you should buy them or if they're going to be meta. I want to let these sit out for a little bit longer before we start encouraging people to buy them or to not buy them. We're just going to look at the kits today. Okay, so starting out, also, side note, there was a post in the Discord about how some of these stats are not appearing correctly or how they scale is not correct. So in terms of the actual values of the percentages, just take those with a grain of salt. but the actual like effects and how these work, I think will be the same. But I think there might be some slight adjustments to some of the numbers. But starting out, we have Mountain Orc Leader. This is for orcs. They have defense +2 and defense +1. So if this scales properly, it'll be defense 30, or sorry, yeah, defense 30, and then defense plus 15 more when battling on wood or stone producing lands. And then orc army attack, blocking a little bit here, but as you can see, army attack 3 for orcs, which is pretty nice as a max level effect. All right, next up is severe laceration. This is for orcs. They have a 100% chance to deal additional damage after dealing physical damage. So again, the tier 1 tree is going to focus around orcs. They have extra defense, even more defense on certain tiles, and extra attack. We've got extra additional, damage dealt when dealing physical damage. So pretty nice there. And then here we have Mortal Commander, which is orcs and Uruk-hai damage reduction. So a pretty decent R1 ability in terms of damage and defense for orcs, which is some, great things to have. So that's that. The bottom R1 is Axe Overload. It is a rush ability, so it'll be used at the beginning of the battle, and it is a physical damage skill. So against one enemy unit, deal 28% physical damage, and then allied units are going to prioritize that target for 1 round. And the max level effect is 20 might there. Then we have Great Bash, which is against 3 targets. That's going to inflict bleed, and they're going to take 10% damage for 2 rounds. Next up is Caning, which is against all 3 allied units, or against 3 allied units. You deal physical damage once, and then it's going to give them a chance to have follow-up for 1 round. So I believe it's still ended up being 100% chance. So you're going to deal damage to your troops, but interestingly enough, they're going to have follow-up, which could also be kind of interesting. Again, behind Axe Overlord, so I'm not sure how that exactly will work out if you're trying to use other parts of his kit, but interesting nonetheless. Next up with the R3, we have Grond's Command. It is commands the unit with the highest defense to control Grond. Grond's attacks, so this is a little bit of a different thing, so bear with me here. So the commander here we're using, the Orc Commander, is going to command the unit with the highest defense to control Grond. I believe at the beginning of the battle, Grond's going to attack, and against 1 enemy target, it's going to inflict defense down, which can stack 3 times until the end of battle. The max level effect is while this unit is present, allied units deal 50% siege. The idea would be that at the beginning of the battle, whoever has the highest defense gets this, and if they were taken out, you probably not have this effect. But again, it's an attack ability with like defense down with siege. You don't run marches that combine like legitimate siege and like actual fighting. So the max level effect seems wasted to me, but that's just my thought. Next up is Hammer Transport. It is allied units damage received -2.5% and speed -90%. Again, these percentages are looking different than they did on stream, so I think they've already corrected the issues we had. So these should be their actual legitimate starting values. But damage received -2.5%, and their speed is -90%. So I cannot imagine using this to march around with. This would have to be a park it on a crossing and just add a ton of tank to whatever you're using. But it is kind of an interesting ability. And lastly, in the R3, we've got Grond's Assault. This is for allied units. They're going to deal an extra 2% damage starting out, so 14% damage, modified by unit's defense. So whatever their defense is, it's modified. So again, I assume this will work together. We have defense, additional defense here, especially more on wood or stone producing lands. And then we have extra damage modified by that defense. So with certain types of gear, I'm wondering how much that increase could be. But again, we just keep seeing increased damage for orcs and reduced damage for them as well so far. So looking decent at this point. Orcs are a good troop type, so we'll see how it plays out. Okay, last but not least, this is the interesting one, or unique one, we'll say. It is Troll Master. So this affects every troll in the game. So again, we can see all of our trolls listed out here. We have trolls. They all get defense +15 when maxed out. Cave trolls are going to prioritize range targets, but let's be real. You should not be using tier 2 trolls. But again, maybe the prioritizing of ranged makes them more viable. I cannot imagine so, but we will see. The hill trolls, Slow Awakening, their ability Slow Awakening. Usually they have to take 10 hits of damage before their Slow Awakening ability works, which increases their damage. Now hill trolls just get their damage increase right away. So will that make hill trolls more viable? I would assume so, because I never seen anyone run them. But kind of interesting, like bypassing a negative effect on a skill on a troop, which is interesting. Mountain trolls, the Massive Presence. The mountain trolls, they have a taunt. So for the first 3 rounds, they take all damage. Now the effect lasts the entire battle. So could be interesting. And last but not least, the Ravager has a 15% increased chance to trigger the Savagery ability. So Ravagers, if you don't know, we'll hop over here really quick. We actually happen to be playing in Mordor, so I mean, I'm not going to test it out, but some might. The Savagery ability has a 50% chance to attack all enemy units. So now it's going to be 65% chance. Again, I don't think the Ravagers are great. Maybe on him, they'll be a little bit better with extra attack for trolls and adding in different troop types to help with that. So they have a better chance to attack everyone. But I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Then 2 more to go here. We have trolls damage dealt plus 3.5% starting out. Again, percent increase for trolls. Again, the Ravagers we just saw have 400 as their minimum damage. So a percent increase for them is much better than just a flat like +3 attack or whatever. So maybe there's a really troll heavy build. Maybe it's all Ravagers. Maybe it's not. But we have some troll damage increase here. And then defensive training. First 3 rounds, trolls, damage received. You have negative 6% starting out. So again, trolls are getting added damage and reduced damage. So are orcs in terms of defense and added damage. The idea we had on stream was some combination, something simple like mountain trolls with reapers, because mountain trolls now taunt for the entire battle. Reapers get going later in the battle. Again, maybe even with his R10. Again, there's a heal at the end with trolls and orcs. So there could be something there. Again, Reaper, War Drummer, Mountain Trolls would probably be nasty in the Rings of Power campaign or anything that has War Drummers. But War Drummers are pretty nasty on everyone, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But again, this is our first new commander. I think he looks interesting at the very least. I would love to try him one day. He's brand new. I would not just out the gate say, hey, go spend all your money on this guy, because I'd like to see how he's tested before I would encourage that. But that's just me, so do as you wish. Do you have any thoughts on him, or you already have him, let me know how he's doing for you. But that is our first new commander. Okay, next up is Beorn. Beorn's going to be our tier 3 good commander. He's got some interesting skills as well. Again, both focusing on troop specific builds, which I don't love. Like, you're forced to run them with, again, for Beorn, it's going to be Beornings. For Ugler, it's going to be trolls. There's some variation, but it's specific named units, which I don't love. So first up is Skin Changer. So starting in round 4, he's going to shapeshift into a bear, have increased might, 4% increased might, and then at max level, he's going to gain madness immunity after shapeshifting. He's then going to have Awe, which is a rush ability. So against all enemies, they're going to deal damage once. And then as his might reaches certain thresholds, 250 and 400, he's going to unlock different things. So at 250, he's got a chance to silence the enemy commander for 1 round. At 400, he's going to have a negative damage dealt percent for the enemy commander for 1 round. So a very high might commander, a damage commander. Again, my thought is we already have a lot of very good side damage commanders. So I would have loved to see him on the evil side, or Ugler have been a damage commander, but they seem to want to just pump the good side with damage commanders, and that's fine, I guess. So Bear Smash is the next one. This is another damage skill. So against one enemy target, you're going to deal 35.7% physical damage. Commander's Might reaches 350. Inflict bleed that deals damage 4 times. Commander's Might reaches 500. You've got a 50% chance to deal an additional 17.1% damage. Again, these are going to scale up as you level them up, obviously, but the expectation is that his might would be very, very, very high. There was concern he'd be almost broken with this level of might. It sounds like the scaling is not nuts by any means, so I don't think he'll be broken based on like high scaling might, but he's going to have high might, and he's got some damage skills there. Next, we have Forest Guardian. This is for beasts. Their attacks inflict defense down for 1 round. So again, any beasts, but we'll see what people get creative with on him here. In the Red Book style event, it gives you eagles and Beornings, so that might be their intended use, but we'll see what people come up with. The max level effect here is in the first 5 rounds, beasts deal maximum damage. So if there is a beast with a very high damage range, there could be potential there where it's like having opportune strike. So we'll see if that's something that could be used, but I'll have to look through and see what builds people theorycraft with this one. Then we have Dash. Beasts are going to receive less damage, 7% less damage, as well as Natural Grace. Each round, beasts are going to have a 70% chance to recover HP. So again, this is all beast focused. This is all commander damage focused. Okay, next up is this R3. This is for Beornings. It says randomly apply one of the following effects after shapeshifting. So the Beornings have a shapeshifting ability themselves, where as the battle goes on, they deal more damage. So once that happens for them, they are going to either have a chance to gain follow-up, to gain increased damage, or increased defense percentage. So one of those 3. And then Beornings each round randomly remove 1 debuff from an allied unit after shapeshifting. So debuff removal when you shapeshift. Again, Beornings just aren't used very much. So same thing like with Ravagers. Maybe this makes them better. Maybe there's potential. But I don't like commanders that focus, especially on neutral units or tier 4 units. It just makes them very limited. So not a big fan of the R3, but it's just because it's very limiting. So we'll see if people want to try it and how that looks. So again, Beornings, maybe they'll have new life with him. We'll see. Next one is Suppression. It is each round against all enemies. There's a 40% chance to inflict negative damage, negative defense, and negative speed. Each effect is determined separately. So there's a chance to inflict each of these individually, not like you either get them all or none, and the effects last 1 round. Then we have Brawling Training, which is allied units against enemy melee units. They're going to deal additional damage to melee units. And last up is his R5. It is going to be Enemy of the Orcs. It's a rush ability, so again, it gets used at the beginning. Against one enemy target, you're going to deal physical damage 1 time. Against random orcs, deal additional damage whenever the army includes orcs. And the max effect is against enemy target. They have defense negative 30% for 1 round. Then we have Impact. Against 1 enemy target, you deal physical damage, and you have a chance to inflict Madness and a chance to inflict Stun. I think there'll be 35% chance for each of those. And then lastly, we have Slash. This is against all enemies. You're going to deal 17.1% damage once, and all enemies cannot recover HP for 1 round. So again, if I had to guess, I think Beorn's going to be used as a damage commander. Idrun is complete R is top R1 here, the R5 title here, this one here, and then 1 point here will get you an anti-heal on all of them. And then you can see what else you want to go with. Again, maybe with certain respect, you can run a damage build with him and start running some kind of a beast build where beasts actually get some heals. Maybe something like Mumakil and non-roleplay who are beasts would benefit from increased damage themselves in the first 5 rounds, a heal with a damage reduction. So they're already used as like one of the more tanky units for damage commanders. Obviously, it's expensive. It has to be non-roleplay for certain commanders, but something like that could work. And then again, obviously the R3 is all Beornings. So run around Beornings. I think you're going to be running the R3 at the bottom R1 as pretty much how that works. But again, those are both of the new commanders. I don't want to theory craft too much or speculate because I don't want people to see this and go, oh my gosh, like this is broken. I'm going to buy them. Commanders are expensive. This game changes all the time. So make sure you know what you're getting into before you drop all your life savings on these commanders. But again, we got Beorn there. We got Ugler here. I think that's what we say. Yeah, Ugler. I got to get used to that. That's kind of a weird name. But again, it's nice that we're getting new content. Although content, again, is probably a generous term for just putting commanders into the game and giving us like a crap ton of bundles we can buy. So this event, to me, was put out there to make money. I'm not upset with it. It's a mobile game. I get it. Just also respect the player base enough to give us a little bit more playable content. So again, this is our playable content. So I would like to see in the future, don't make as much hype. Don't make an event. Just drop commanders and then drop this with it, and people would be happy. And drop the bundles. People are happy. But when you make it an event, which to everyone seems like that's going to be playable things to do in the game, it's lackluster. So overall, I'm saying this event met the bar. This isn't a rant video. This is I think we're getting used to how these events are going. They're just commander drops with a little bit of flash. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you like the event. Let me know if you like the commanders. Did you open some chests and have some good luck? Because I had some pretty crazy luck. Again, I'll be posting my Matham opening as soon as I'm able to. It's getting pretty late here, so you can probably tell I'm getting tired. But we'll be posting our Matham opening very shortly. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.